What is good? We're back. No live mock draft Monday tonight. No, once a month we will be turning this into live Dynasty trades and questions.
Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Love it. Live.
Jason's nightmare.
The best. He goes, oh no.
Well, we got live Dynasty trades and questions for your pleasure tonight. We have the $5 Holler Discord guys are going to get first crack at some questions, but you in the chat over there, feel free to holler and throw your questions all up in this thing. And, of course, tonight is presented by Fast Draft, the fastest, easiest fantasy app on the planet. Fast Draft will double your first deposit up to $25 with promo code FFD. So make sure you tell them that we sent you, help your boys out, and have a really pleasurable experience on Fast Draft. All right, we got Dynasty questions. We're excited tonight. I got Uncle Big Co over here. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. I don't know why it's Uncle, but I'll take it.
That's what what the kids call you. Old Uncle Big Co.
Old Uncle Big. This is true. This is true.
Old
kids
Uncle,
everywhere now.
Old Uncle Wart. Uncle Buck. He goes down to the teachers, the principal's office, and she's got a huge mole on her face, and he's like, "Oh, Buck Russell, Molly Russell's Wart." No, that's what Uncle Wart. That's what they call me, Uncle Wart.
Tried to play it off.
Yeah.
I don't get that scene from Uncle Buck.
Oh, so good. And then at the end, he really gives it to her, flips her a quarter, and says, "Here's a quarter. Go downtown and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face."
No, he did not.
Yes, he does.
What is this movie rated?
Uncle Buck is so underrated. Underrated.
It's underrated. That's what it's rated, Vico.
Oh, John Candy just on fire that whole movie. It's so good. So good. Also watching Tool Time right now. Tim Allen, so underrated.
For sure.
We need to drop on this pod.
That was very accurate. That was highly accurate.
I'm watching it, so if I'm watching something, I could get an impression within range.
Pretty good. Anyway,
live Dynasty trades for your pleasure. We got a patron here, $5 Holler. He says, thoughts on this trade.
Who watches Tool Time?
It just dropped on Netflix.
Okay.
I was like, 8 seasons of Tool Time? Let's go.
Some hot Tool ladies.
It's so good.
Pam Anderson was on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's kicking it off.
All right.
Kicking it off. All right. So we got thoughts on this trade. He needs a quarterback in super flex, tight end premium. He traded the 104 and the 311 for Penix and 203. Ooh, nice job. And for those in a similar situation, how would you approach adding a QB if you have the 104? Take a rookie or add a vet? So he's essentially, he's completed the trade. It seems like this is more of a reflection, but he's helping the people out there of kind of what the thought process is on this. So first and foremost, the trade itself, 104 and 311 for Penix. I mean, to get the 203 back is just solid. Rico Suave. Mm-hmm. I like that. Like getting the 203 because you're still in premium. You said Superflex tight end premium. You're in great position there at 203 because two of the tight ends are most likely coming off the board. That will be Loveland and Warren. So that's going to push the guys like Neal and I don't know where Trey Harris will be, but Trey Harris, if he goes up in there because of the process here, then even so every time somebody gets pushed up, somebody gets pushed down, and 203 is going to be a lovely spot to be. That's you could be getting Devin Neal in a spot like that. You could take another tight end and maybe Fannin or maybe some other tight end. Arroyo jumps up in this process or some other guy really solidifies. So that's
or one of those 5 or 6 running backs that we're going to be starving over.
Neal, Scatabo, any of the ones that could
Dylan
get excited. Golly Gordon. So
sure.
Anybody that could be, dropping or rising a little bit there. The 203 could be somebody who's at 301 right now, right? So I like the deal. And then if you're in a similar situation, rookie or veteran, so basically Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, which I don't mind taking if I need a quarterback. But the options are always going to be, hey, what are my options of whether I want to take the rookie or the vet? And that's really the question, right?
Every time. Well, when he says you need a quarterback, right? Everybody needs a quarterback in Superflex unless you just got one of those teams with 4 starters. But if you take a shot on Cam Ward and it hits, then you crushed, But if you take a shot on Cam Ward and you had the 104 and it doesn't hit, the 104's value right now is super strong. Of course, it'll be stronger in a week, and it'll be stronger come the NFL draft when we get we get more information and get super excited about that pick. But I like that Jay Wayne pops up some ADP right here. But those are, that's rookies. So if you put those in beside where the ADP is.
So you come in, you're at 104 here. If we go to Tyler Warren in the regular ADP, we're at 503. Just to give you an idea,
right?
And I think some of the higher end stuff's going to move up a little bit here.
But so there you go, right there. There's Penix in the ADP, so you just moved over to Penix and got the 2-3, right? So that's why you said you like that trade a lot. So you basically take. Obviously, there's still plenty of gamble in Penix because we only saw a couple games, but we saw enough to be encouraged, and then so you get yourself the 2-3. So I like that part of the trade. And Jay Wayne backs it up with some nice stats right there with ADP for us. So I like that. And then, of course, the quarterbacks. I've said it definitely the last couple of years in here when you like Will Levis, et cetera, like the Panthers quarterback Bryce Young. Like you get these guys and there's ups and there's downs. And right now Levis is free. Because you've lost all value.
Stroud's
in
down,
Levis.
Love's down.
Stroud just
Bryce
lost,
is up.
Stroud lost some value, which I think most people would agree that's a very nice buying opportunity, and you just take advantage of that situation because this time last year he was a 1-2, 1-3, 1-4 startup pick. But that's just if you can trade the 104 and get a veteran. Right up there was I think Jared Goff and those types of guys were up there.
Dak, Lawrence, Goff, Baker are some of the higher end veterans that are a little further up. There, but Golf's right there,
but not too much, So, like if you're looking to, I think probably I bet you could probably get
there's Dak and
Brock.
Baker.
I bet you get Brock Purdy for the 104 right now.
Yeah,
everybody seems to be hating on him, and until the 49ers pay him, then there's just that question mark. You take advantage of that uncertainty, right? Yeah. So I or you could just take the 104 and add a little bit and try to tier jump. And maybe try to jump in the back end of the next tier.
Yeah, but overall, I like the trade. If you're asking veteran or rookie right now, what I can trade that 104 for is worth more than what we're seeing as far as ADP overall. Like Cam Ward right now at 701, Shedeur Sanders at 708.
100%.
Right, so
and they'll come up.
Tyler Warren was, but I agree. I think they're going to come up and make that 10. And some people will stay hating for some reason. Shedeur's not throwing at the combine, and everybody's upset about it. And I'm like, well, it's the top prospects almost never throw at the combine. Yeah. Like, great for Penix. Like Penix threw at the combine because when Penix threw at the combine, even though everybody had blinders on, there was a huge difference between him and everybody else at the combine throwing the ball. It explodes out of his hand, and it
probably had something to do with him getting a top 10 draft pick.
Right. Yeah. Well, and maybe so, but I don't think Cam Ward's going to throw either, and it didn't seem like as big a deal. But these guys just have their haters, but they're going to get draft capital, and then people will talk themselves into it, and maybe some people will be like, well, I'm not taking him at the 104, but there'll be plenty of people who are lining up at 104, 105, 106 to be taking those quarterbacks, right?
Yeah. So last thing on this one for me, like if you take Jared Goff, for instance, you might be able to trade that 104 and get Jared Goff. That was really close in ADP there. If Cam Ward comes out and hits, he's going to be way more valuable than Jared Goff. That's just how it is. If he's 80% of what we just saw Washington quarterback come out and do,
Jaden Daniels.
If he's 80% of Jaden Daniels, he's going to be more valuable than Jared Goff. But if he comes out and flounders around for a year or two, then Jared Goff is going to be steady Eddie. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Goff. It's just that, he's lost his offensive coordinator, so there's some question marks about that Lions offense just there. You just lost one of the best brains in the league. Yeah. Right? He Ben Johnson, apparently one of the best brains in the league, and we just wonder how that transition goes. But right this second, there's some question marks on the Lions offense and what might end up with Jared Goff. So you could take advantage of that potentially and trade for Jared Goff. That said, Jared Goff doesn't get any rushing production, and if there is any type of drop-off with the Lions offense, now you have is Jared Goff all Ben Johnson, and that could right. I think the offense as a whole is super insulated because they're all under contract. Right. Gibbs is young, Laporta's young. They're all on rookie
contract. It's going to need some payment here and there.
Well, but that's good. The thing. But the thing about the Lions is they got studs that are paid, so like they can't go and invest in any bigger. Like they don't have the room. Penei Sewell's a stud contract. They paid St. Brown like a stud wide receiver. You know,
Yeah,
they paid Goff. Obviously, the cap's going back up again, but they're gonna. They know they got to pay Hutchinson. Blah blah. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, they got big time players to take up chunks of cap. So, and I mean, they're deep. They're a deep team. Obviously, they ran through their depth and defense this year with all the injuries. But like, they're not going to bring in, you know, a first round wide receiver.
Right.
You know, like St. Brown and Jamison
They're
Williams. And
probably continue to attack trenches.
Right. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
Or and then continue to build to build out a defense.
Right.
Just something like that. So I mean, Goff is fine. It's just like, if you know Cam Ward crushes, he's 2 startup rounds better than Jared
There's
Goff.
just way more risk involved in that if you want to do that.
Exactly.
You know, last year, 2 years ago, we made some choices and we're right on the risk with not taking Bryce Young here and there, and took some. And then last year, I took Kyler Murray, traded Kyler Murray for Jaden Daniels in a rookie draft, and that was the wrong move, right?
Exactly.
You know,
but
but we're looking at 50-50 propositions a lot of the times with these quarterbacks. So
you lost the coin flip.
I lost that one for sure, and it sucks. You know,
It's turning back in the other direction though.
In which way?
Like, no one likes Stroud this past year.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Daniels.
Oh,
Currently,
right.
yeah, currently,
right.
he lost the coin flip on Jaden Daniels.
But
This is why I don't
Kyler
talk that much. to kids.
Same way it would be on the inverse of Stroud. Whatever trade you made for him looked great, and now people are looking at it like, oh, I don't know who you traded for Stroud, but if it was like a comparable quarterback, that it doesn't look so great right now. So it's just that's kind of how dynasty trades work.
Exactly. If you traded for Stroud this time last year after his rookie season, you gave up so much, and it feels terrible right now. I don't know. Whatever you paid,
You could have got Lamar Jackson for C.J. Stroud every day of the week. Yeah, every day of the week. And now, no way.
Lamar Jackson helped my team win a championship in that league.
No way now.
And I tried to give you him.
Yeah.
Plus, I tried to give you Ferguson as well for tight end.
No chance. So, you know, that's kind of just how it goes. So that, you know, you have to take the hits with the misses, and you know, but the idea always is mitigating some risk. But if you don't take some risk here and there in Dynasty, you're never going to really smash some of the outliers.
True. And it's not as much fun.
Yeah, it's certainly not. So that's why you do the work and trust your instincts on players there. So, all right. Next question up from Chev. He said, which players are you moving up your board the most with a strong combine performance? Well, you know, I think a couple come to mind instantly, right? I think you go straight to the tight ends, because that always, like, the RAS score really gets blown out of proportion with the tight ends a lot. So somebody comes in there and blows it up. Those guys will be a scintillating name for a lot of people.
Are those rookies back up, Jay?
I think guys like, you know, well, I don't know if Trey Harris is what he's doing, if he's at the combine, what he's doing. I don't know. I haven't checked all the invitations who RSVP'd, but you know, Trey Harris could come out there and have some good drills, or go the other way. But you know, Isaiah Bond's one that really sticks out to you. He was somebody who was top 5 in wide receivers coming in, and has been outshined by Matthew Golden. But he could come out there and put in work, like, you know, we just saw Worthy do. Now, he's not going to break the record, but Bond's fast, and Bond could come out there and really re-solidify some capital with a lot of people in their minds, and be exciting for some teams. Dylan Sampson, somebody who could come out there and solidify it. Like, a lot of people like him, but if he blows the combine up, he'll be more of a public
Who are those other
figure.
tight ends that McShay was talking about on his most recent pod? Did you?
I didn't hear it, but, you know,
It wasn't Fannin. That's
Arroyo.
It was not necessarily Arroyo either. Like, he got 2 or 3 tight ends down the line until he mentioned Fannin.
I mean, Mason Taylor, Aronde Gatson, Gunnar Helm, Terrence Ferguson, Mitchell Evans. So
he's mentioning some guys that, like, are going to get higher draft capital than, like, some of the fantasy community's talking about right now. So just those guys.
But somebody like Aronde Gatson, who's more of a receiver build, you know, could come out there and really crush it. For that. Ty Felton's one that we talked about, who could come out there, have a good combine, and have a really productive 2024. I hope Ricky White blows it up. I like Ricky White a lot.
He was talking about Giddens, I think.
DJ Giddens,
DJ Giddens about
he's big
cutting ability.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so something like a 3-cone drill from him could be a number that people are like, oh my God, you see how fast that was?
Right. So those are some names that really quickly pop up for me, and going the other way, Scatabo could be somebody who doesn't test well and falls out of favor, which would be great. Devin Neal doesn't test well, falls out of favor a little bit. That would be great. I like both of those guys a lot.
Exactly. How many times we just seen it too many times?
Yeah,
we've seen it too many times with good, especially like running backs. And it happens with wide receivers too. Like those guys, you can play football.
Yeah.
And so how many? I think I've seen it before. We talked about this before, but how many of the best wide receivers in the league run 4.5 40s?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
right.
not, you don't run 4.3 40s and you're like the fastest wide receivers ever to combine, like the top 20 fastest ever. There's maybe one or two all pro wide receivers, because it's not all about running 4.3 straight line speed.
Right.
Low 4.3 wide receivers at the combine are usually not all pro receivers.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's a good point. There's a group here, RB 11 through 14, Brashard Smith, Jordan James, RJ Harvey, and Giddens here. All those guys could really be making some money here. Like if Jordan James goes out there and performs really well, he just kind of does everything well and runs really hard, well built and young. Smith, Harvey, and Giddens, all guys, and Woody Marks is right there. All those guys could have big movement here and be all fighting for 7 through 12 of the running backs, at least for fantasy community wise. And maybe Scatabo and Ollie Gordon or something bow out of there, or Neal people don't like because of the combine or something. So those are guys that I got my eye on.
The next 2 months of Dynasty is going to be incredible. Let's do another trade question.
Tootin from Vatek. He's got good size. If he comes out there and runs well, Tootin haven't really broke the film down completely on him, but yeah. So let's hop into another question here. What do we got? Let's see here. We got Joe Stew coming in. He said, "How's the 103?" Decent. I like the 103.
This
I like you.
It's getting better every day. There's not a better way to answer that question. How's the 103, Joe? Getting better every day.
Yeah.
You got people like Todd McShay out here that just realized last week how good a Marion Hampton was. So then you got Tet McMillan, who's about to come in and give you some 3-cone drills at the combine and show and clock in at 6'5", yada yada yada. So and then when Cam Ward gets drafted number 1 overall, obviously the Titans want to trade back, but somebody in the top 3, Cam Ward's going top 3, and they're going to play some highlight reels, and they're going to put his little dancing around right beside Jaden Daniels' little dancing around, and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, please let Cam Ward beat Jaden Daniels, and then his stock's going to go up. And that's just how it works. And then when obviously we're talking 103, but tight end premium, yada yada yada. Tyler Warren's going to go super hot. McShay is Tyler Warren's going top 10.
Yeah. Well, between the quarterbacks, Warren, Hampton, Tet, and Travion and Caleb Johnson, your 103 is looking
fine,
real strong right now.
Getting better every day.
These tweets I see out there about how this draft class is getting worse by the day and all that, do not listen to these people. This is a very strong first round and a half. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good players. Luther Burden could be one of those guys who's in everybody's mouth after the combine too, because his change of direction is, unmatched, I think, in this cycle here. So, and that I didn't even mention Judkins, right?
Right.
I don't know how he's going to test, but
he's going to be just fine.
Right.
So we have some polls running on our posts on the YouTube page. So head over there and get some voting in. But we actually did a poll question about the 1-3. Omarion Hampton got 68% of the vote. Cam Ward coming in at 20%.
Your 1-3 is getting better every day.
Where's Caleb Johnson?
He's not on the list.
Well, that's a bad poll.
He must have been.
And that's
got Egbuka on that poll and not get out of here.
That's the beauty of it. That's the absolute beauty of it.
You don't have Luther Burden on that. Who made that poll?
1.4 thousand votes.
Love it.
Who made that poll?
Who made that poll? Not me.
Love it. All right.
Not me.
Next trade question. Love it. 1-3 good. Hey, Joe Stew, 1-3's good.
Joe Stew, yeah.
I'll trade you for the 1-3, Joe.
All right, so Lutang Clan asks, don't recall if you touched on this in a previous episode, thoughts on moving your 26th, 1st, and 3rd, projected mid, it was 107 this year, for the 108. So we'd have back-to-back picks, 107 and 108. It'd have 2 seconds and 26, and I'd still have a little capital in 26. So,
absolutely. I'll do it right now. And that's the thing. Like, obviously, you had you 107 this year. Liu Tang says.
So
I got.
You're giving up the third essentially to have another pick in the first
this year.
A first and a third.
Yeah, and you got a year to figure it out later. Obviously, with your draft pick next year, but he's got 2 seconds next year. So he trades away first rounder next year. He's got 2 seconds next year. But in the 7 and 8, I love that back to back. Obviously, 7 and 8, it doesn't sound as good as 3 and 4. But you're not getting the 4 from somebody. But at 7 and 8, you can move up with the 7 and back with the 8, or you can catch a falling stud at 7, maybe 2 falling studs. But you could take a player at 7 and then take that 1-8, trade back
to the 206,
maybe
get a first.
Exactly, get your first back, or not even trade that far. Maybe you go 1-8 to 1-9 or 1-8 to 110, and you get a second rounder. You start, and
26 or whatever.
I think it's so early in the process right now. Like last year, everybody was like, "Well, after 1-5, it's this," and I was like, "Y'all, I'm telling you right now, your 1-9 is about to be electric." And I probably said it about February 25th last year. So I'll take the 1-8 this year for a first rounder next year. It's like. Liu Tang gives us his context. I'm a mid team. I got the 1-7. If Liu Tang gets crushed with injuries next year and he's gave up the 1-1-1-2, that's gonna suck. Mm-hmm. Know your team. Do you have any depth at all? Do you have a bunch of like almost always injured players? Or are you a good team and you just had a little bad luck and you got the 1-7 draft pick? Or are you a bad team and you had some good luck and you got the 1-7 draft pick? Yeah. So like. If you are more likely to, if that draft pick is more than likely the 110 next year, I'm doing that all day. If it's more than likely the 1-2 next year, you really got to dig a little bit deeper into the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give you my first next year for the 1-8 and a 3 for the 1-8 now.
Yeah.
Obviously, you ask for a 4th back.
Right.
And play Casey's hand. Ask for the 4th in 2026, and if it says no, go to ask for a 3rd in 2027.
Yeah,
and if he says no, now you ask for the 4th in 2027.
Yeah.
That's why you guys are on here watching and listening.
I'm still thinking about. I feel like that 103 poll or whatever that was a setup by a Hampton truther. My man just set my man up for victory. I don't like that.
It was a setup.
Anyway, Liu Tang goes on to also moved McMillan and Jennings for 203, 205, and a 12-man, 1 quarterback PPR tight end premium. McMillan was my 4 and 5 on this team, and I figured I'd try and move him while his value is up. Took him at 607 last year. FFPC 7-round rookie draft and waiver players. Yeah. So you got McMillan at 607 in a FFPC.
That's about right.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean
Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, he was third
round pick,
4th round pick all time.
Third rounder.
FFPC gives you.
It's early. It's early. The draft's early on
it's
FFPC.
Early.
There's veterans in there.
Mm-hmm. Lots of veterans.
Yeah.
People digging around for second quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback league. Somebody like Casey trying to talk me out of drafting Tyrone Tracy just so I can solidify Matt Stafford as my quarterback. Had to fight him off with that with a stick.
We still could have got Tracy.
You don't know that. The next pick he could have gone off.
True.
Anyway, I don't hate it. Obviously, in 1 quarterback, pick 2. But the fact that it's 2-3 and 2-5, I mean, that's nice. But I think that you could probably have gotten the 2-3 or 2-5 for Jennings a couple months ago, right? So that Jennings for a 2-5 a couple months ago was happening, and people trying to find playoff winners, trying to go in for the playoffs. Jawan Jennings, I'm assuming that's who that is. And so McMillan crushed, right? Mm-hmm. So I hope Godwin goes back and plays in that same role and kills it again, but who knows what's going to happen with that. I don't think it's likely. I hope he goes. I've just always been a Godwin fan, but
sure,
I think that the secret's out on McMillan, and you don't put him back in the bottle. The dude was killing it.
Yeah,
and I'm not one of those guys like, all right, well, McMillan just scored a bunch of handful of touchdowns, and that's gonna be unsustainable. Of course, he's not going to score 6 touchdowns in 5 games again in one stretch to start the year, but he also showed that he's more than pro ready.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
And he played a lot of the position, and he played because when Godwin was crushing, he was over here doing this, and Godwin goes out, and he's over here, doing this and that, and Mike Evans, perennial 1,000-yard guy. I assume everything's going to click right back into place next year. We do see, however, sometimes a star gets hurt, you're in the middle of the season. You're not just going to go pick up somebody off the free agency wire. You're playing with a guy that's on your team and knows the playbook, and you see volume-based production after an injury, and then the next year it might not be there. A lot of times it's more of a running back thing. But you do see it, so it's not impossible that McMillan has a quote-unquote down year next year based on his stretch this year as the wide receiver 2 for the Bucs. If Godwin comes back, he could be wide receiver 3.
I would say, you have two things. You can move McMillan now before they make a decision with Godwin in free agency in a week or two here, right?
Or he's a stud.
Or he comes back and Godwin goes away and the value goes up even a little more. Right now we're seeing him around 809 in FFD ADP. Check out the $5 holler to get access to the ADP, plus a bunch of mock drafts that you can hone your skills in on. Got to check that out. But yeah, Jalen McMillan going around 809. Jennings has fallen quite a bit. He's in the 14th round, but once people realize Debo is gone and he's stepping into a more consistent role, which he had last year for the most part because they had some injuries and it was very up and down, but he was banged up. That there's just a weird season for them. So I think Jennings,
for the Niners.
You traded early on Jennings and you could have timed it just right with McMillan, but I would almost wait 2 weeks and be like, all right, well now McMillan's got his own role, and then now the Debo talks are heating up that they're getting rid of people, and like after the draft, Jennings I can't see the 49ers investing high capital in a wide receiver. So I feel like both of those stocks have a really good chance of moving up, so I might have just waited on that to make that move. I understand what you're doing, and really at the end of the day,
I think it's a fine trade.
Look, you could see here's Devin Neal,
right?
We're at 809, and Devin Neal's at 812, and that's kind of around the range where you would be on some of those trades.
I think in a rookie draft, you're going to feel so good having the 2-3 and the 2-5. It's going to be fun. If it was a 2-5, 2-7, it's a little bit different. Like that 2-3 gets you that much closer to the first round. So 2-3, 2-5, it's fun. Jennings is, like you said, Jennings, you're not going to appreciate him until you're actually having to set a lineup. Jennings is not going to get any off-season love. Like, he's just not.
Right.
He's not fun.
Well, he may.
A little bit. Right. Yes, when it comes to 49ers setting their depth chart time, and it's Ricky Pearsall and Jennings, all right, Jennings going to get a little bit of love. But he's still going to be, he's still got Kittle, and the resurgence of Christian McCaffrey's always had a great offseason. There's no setbacks. Jennings still going to fall down a little bit. And McMillan, he can be appreciated before we get to week 1. But Jennings, I just feel like you're not going to appreciate him until he's out there catching 6 for 60 again.
Yeah. Well, there's a chance that you see, 2-round movement in startups once Debo's for sure out of the picture, right? You could gain.
I don't mind it either way. I don't mind cashing out on McMillan, and I think this is a good way to do it. But at the same time, I'm also okay. I'm not like looking to cash out on him.
Yeah, so I'm a McMillan guy. Wrong guy to ask for this. I've been a big fan of McMillan, and I think he's good. So I don't really want to trade him out for this pick per se. I got what I wanted out of him, and I see that he can play.
I guarantee you, there's not one person that puts out fantasy football content that talked about Jalen McMillan as much as you did, the way you did last year. It was the Jalen Polk show, and you were like, no, McMillan's their second best wide receiver. Trust me. So that's just the way. So, but that's the way that went down.
I think it's fair enough.
It's a decent trade both ways. I can see it both ways.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving here. We got Ken Froggy Dog coming up at you.
Ken Frog,
16 team Superflex tight end premium. He's got the 107 and the 115 and the 116. I don't have any second round picks, but 3 early mid in the third. And I'm in desperate need of a running back. This class is great for a running back. Should I use one of those late firsts to get a couple second round picks, or just use the 2 late firsts to move up, possibly get 2 of the top running backs? I guess the real question is, are the top 5 or 6 RBs that much better than the next 4? Or should I try and get as many as the top 15, 20 as I can? By the way, moving to the 101 is not an option.
I love that he threw that in there.
Yeah.
Somebody's already planted their flag, and Genty ain't getting traded. I love that. Even in a 16-team league, he's like, I don't need any depth. I'm taking Genty. That's funny.
So, again, if we look at the rookie ADP, you can kind of go and say, all right, so we're in 15 and 16, right? So 12 is Sanders. 13 is the 201, 14 is the 202, 15 is the 203, and 16 is the 204.
Yep.
So there's where you're starting, right?
So you get 3 of that. You get 3 of those guys are better,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Because he's got the 1-7 and the 15-16.
So you're gonna get a shot at one of the top 5 running backs at 7.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you're getting a really good player there. Because if it's tight end premium, I'm quite sure one of Warren or Loveland will go, if not both. And I don't know how much premium it is. If it's 2, you might get both of them.
Yeah.
Out of there. You know, I think I know what your answer is trade. Try to put 15 and 16 together and trade up.
Potentially. I mean, you said don't have any 2s. We got a handful of 3s.
I don't think I'm trading back necessarily.
Not now. It's in my mind. I think that you can always trade back, and yes, and there's always, hey, this guy, you know, didn't get drafted as high as we thought, and this guy got drafted higher than we thought, and there's always a little shuffle here or there, but you know, we are getting consistently told how this is a 20 to 25 deep running back class, right? And so when there are 15 running backs that go in the 3rd and 4th round of the real NFL draft, and you got the 4 or 5 that went in the 1st and 2nd round, most of them will be in the 2nd round likely, but you know, you got 4 that'll be gone by the end of the 2nd round, maybe 5, and then you got 15 that go in the next 2 rounds.
Yeah,
that's 20 players, right?
Yeah,
we're not even talking wide receivers or tight ends. So, and yeah, you'll pick through and you'll be like, well, I don't want that one right now because he's going to sit behind Josh Jacobs for 2 years.
Right.
Or I'm not quite as high on this guy, but I loved him, but he's going to be, it was a value pick by the Falcons, and he's behind Bijan. That was just quality depth. And obviously that's not going to be that because Bijan has the quality depth already, but you know what I mean. There's going to be a really good player that we like draft because there's so many running backs, and teams are like, yeah, these running backs help, and they get hurt, so let's take another one. And when it comes down to quality of player, and so when there's 15 of them going in 3rd and 4th round, I don't trade back off of 15 and 16 right now. I don't mind trading up from 15 or 16 if you can find the right package right now. The sooner the better to trade up. You trade up early, you trade back late. This is just how it works.
Yeah. No, I like it. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's go to another question from. Forgive me, I'm missing the name right here, but zoomed in. I got to zoom back out. 14-team PPR Superflex tight end premium start 11. This is a roster reviewed team. This is the 2nd trade he's trying to make since the review here. So we got Sam Darnold, Rashee Rice, and Sinnott for DK, Lawrence, and Eric All.
Sending away Lawrence, DK, and Eric All, getting back Darnold, Rashee Rice. That would be a slam dunk if we thought Darnold was staying in the Vikings. There's a lot of gamble there. And obviously the Jaguars just got a really, really good offensive coordinator named head coach. We don't know how he's going to be as a head coach, but I think we all can agree that the Jaguars offensive system is going to have a huge step up. So I think, all that stuff I've said the last couple of weeks about Darnold, hey, guys, let's don't forget he threw for 4,000 yards and 30-something touchdowns. Let's not forget that, right? He had to make those plays. It was the best system and great pass catchers, et cetera, et cetera. Rashee Rice, stud.
Right.
High-quality role. Something might have been – have you heard anything about this special knee injury he's got?
No.
Okay, some kind of funky PCL or something that might be a bigger problem than we know about right now. Says the guys on Underdog Fantasy podcast, and really we need to figure something out about that. If Ben Sinnott's getting targets, I mean, there's multiple reasons why the Sam Darnold, Rashee Rice, Ben Sinnott side of this trade is a slam dunk. It's easy to see, but if Sam Darnold goes over to Cleveland or somewhere else that flounders quarterbacks,
kind of like him in Cleveland, but
I would think so. If he and Stefanski could work some Stefanski magic.
Yeah.
Right? Everything that Stefanski was trying to do that was working right, Deshaun Watson, them boys just did not mesh.
But Sam Darnold goes to the Rams and Stafford leaves.
Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. There's ways how that can be a home run for our side here, for our guy Joe. There's also ways that Trevor Lawrence is a stud now, and Sam Darnold is the slippers off because he's not with Kevin O'Connell anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably more like if Rashee Rice is fine and he's going to come back and be healthy, and the only problem is a potential suspension. DK Metcalf is just hated on, right? Rashee Rice is 3 rounds ahead of him in a startup, and that's just how it's going to be. Eric All, sure. Yeah. I mean, I've been saying it all day.
Free throw in there with All, basically, who got hurt this year. But a lot of people liked him. But, yeah.
I don't hate it. This was the guy. This was the super, super deep roster. It was, so it was 14 teams, start 11, tight end, super flex. So it's just you couldn't get enough players. So he's really sending away Trevor Lawrence and a hated in the fantasy community, DK Metcalf, for Darnold, Rashee Rice, and, the huge bump up from Eric All to Ben Sinnott that we're hoping for, that Ben Sinnott gets the opportunity to prove himself other than just catching fake punts. So I don't hate it. I think it's a solid trade. I think Trevor Lawrence is paid, and he just got a, man-child brain offensive coordinator kind of guy.
Sure.
And Sam Darnold has a strong possibility, if not 50-50 coin flip, of leaving one of those kind of guys. Now, there's still, where does he end up?
Right.
Sure. There's probably on the better side of bad. There's probably more better landing spots for Darnold. There's only a couple of really hell holes to go to for quarterbacks in the NFL anymore, but there's a few, and he could go to one of them.
There's a lot of the ones that are open right now I wouldn't want to go to if I were him.
Exactly.
All the New Yorks don't want to go there.
Neither
Tennessee
one.
don't want to go there.
No.
Pittsburgh's probably not a great fit.
I'd rather him not go to Pittsburgh. So that's
Cleveland
3
doesn't
of them.
have money.
No money in
and
Cleveland.
So, I don't know. They're talking about free agents coming in there. I don't know what they would do and how they would swing it, but
their best player wants out, but they ain't getting no good free agents.
I don't mind
That's
Sam
4.
Darnold going there. Oakland or Vegas would be
could be worse.
Could be worse, right? You could you get one more playmaker there. You got Bowers, you got Jacoby, who's a good 2.
Working with Tommy.
Working with Tom.
Had to throw that Jacoby.
But if he goes to somewhere like L.A. because Stafford's on the move for some reason, then that would be excellent, right? Then this is a slam dunk move for me. It's all about the landing spot with Darnold that makes this trade, which is probably what makes the trade available currently.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I got a hard time getting rid of Lawrence right now, but yeah, I mean, and if there's, I haven't heard much about this Rashee Rice knee injury, so if that's a real thing and that there's a real problem of him not being right, then then it's the DK and Lawrence side pretty easily,
Yeah.
So. All right, what do we got, Jason? Anything from the people?
Nothing we got to get to right now.
All right, we got another trade question here. This was just, you still have Caleb and Stafford that was a response to the other one, because we reviewed that, so that was one of the guys. Doug was trying to help with this question earlier. It seemed like he traded Stafford off that team. All right, Casey, are you efforting another question?
Yeah.
All right.
Give me 1 second here, and we're locked and loaded. Let's see. Oh, nope, didn't quite get there. This guy says, I just pulled up a random one here. This guy's got a lot of questions here. Sorry.
Where are you?
10-team Superflex start 9 PPR rebuilding wide receiver room would become Marv, Olave, Downs, Pittman, Leggett, Tillman, and likely Tet. So Rashee Rice and Ricky Pearsall for Marv Harrison.
Giving Rashee Rice and Pearsall for Marvin Harrison?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good trade, because I don't have an obvious quick answer, and that's probably because I'm a big Pearsall guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went to the Niners, I was ecstatic about it. And then obviously I hated to see Ayuk hurt, but that's an opening for Pearsall.
Yeah.
And I think we saw in the last couple weeks of the season that there is going to be high potential for Pearsall to catch a lot of balls in that offense. Yes, we didn't have Christian McCaffrey out there demanding targets. Yes, we didn't have Brandon Ayuk on the field. But what we got out of Pearsall was exactly what we needed to see. The man got shot, right? You had to tell me that halfway through the season that you had to remind me that he got shot. Big coach, stop being upset about this Pearsall stuff. Give it a minute. Let it breathe. He got shot. And, so he took him out of everything for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about the, floor and ceiling of Pearsall. I really am. So that's a tough one for me. Obviously, just startup value alone, it's one of those things where you should probably be able to get a little bit more if you're looking at the spot that Marvin Harrison is going to get drafted. But if you look where Rashee Rice goes, it ain't that far behind. So
I mean, currently we've got, a 2-ish round difference between those two guys. Rashee Rice and Marv's at 208. Rice is at, let's see here, 403.
Yeah, so exactly. So if you're at 208 in a startup and somebody says, hey, you drop back to 403 here and get a free 8th round pick, that's a 50-50 proposition. A lot of people are going to say yes. A lot of people are going to say no. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's a fair deal. In Dynasty, man, if you could just find something that's not a quick answer, that's probably a good trade.
Yeah.
That's all. Hey, would you rather have this or rather have that? Depends on if I think there's a Marvin Harrison guy in my league that doesn't even know he's for sale, and I can come sneak up on him and grab him here and then use him to go get Malik Neighbors over there for free. That's just how. Or are you in a 16-team league and you need 2 starters? You can turn Marvin Harrison into Rashee Rice and Pearsall because there's just not enough starters to go around.
Right.
Are you in a 14-team league that starts 4 flexes? Then I'm taking the 2 wide receivers every time because that's 2 players.
Yeah.
But are you in a start 7 league where it's,
it's a 10-man league.
There you go. So if the less starting lineup requirements or the smaller the lineup, the smaller the league, the higher end guys you need to push forward every single time. The deeper you get, then you need the depth. You need the depth just to being able to start. Think about it. It hasn't been that many years ago since it was like a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex or 2. And like that second flex is tough sometimes every week to get right, to feel confident about it. Mm-hmm. Now we're playing in leagues with 2 more flexes and a quarterback.
Right.
So that anytime you got 3 or 4 flexes, the best team's probably just the people that can field the second and third and fourth flex every week and feel good about it.
Yeah.
You're watering down the other team that this team over here has 3 studs, but their 2 flexes barely get any targets or barely get any handoffs,
Yeah.
So that's when you beat up on those teams just because you have the depth to put in a starter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me, if Rashee Rice is healthy in this, I think I lean Rashee Rice and the Pearsall side. I just looked up while you were talking, and the newest update is from February 5th from Andy Reid saying Rashee Rice looks good. All signs point to being good to go for next season and being really healthy. There's an LCL injury, which everybody knew about.
Okay.
So I don't know what this new information is, but as far as a quick Google search,
okay,
the newest thing that pops up is February 5th. And if that's the case, I have Rashee Rice in second tier of wide receivers of being healthy.
Perfect.
And I got Marv probably right around there anyway. So, pretty even. You're getting Pearsall on top. Now, I know value-wise, from perception-wise, it's Marv, and that's why you're getting Pearsall on the back. But I think from production-wise and what Rashee Rice – obviously, if he would have finished the season this year,
sure,
we'd be talking about wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 5. That's the range where I see Rashee Rice in. And this you wouldn't be able to get this deal done because Marv went the opposite way, and Rashee Rice is a second-year emerging star for Patrick Mahomes, or now a star for Patrick Mahomes.
Completely agree. Anybody out there at home that's decent with the medical searches, throw it in the comments if you can find anything. Definitely something cloudy around his injury potentially says – reputable guys, Hayden Winks and Josh over there at Underdog, they're as good as it gets. So if they say there's something up, we need to look into it. What else you got, Big Dog?
Let's see here. We got a question that says Dak in the 104, Cousins, Pittman, Coleman, and 206. So that's So Dak in the 104, Cousins, Pittman, Coleman, and 206.
Oh, that's Dak all day long. Dak in the 104, please. Dak in the 104? Oh, yeah. Man, that's easy.
I'm with you.
That's easy.
I'm with you.
Okay.
All right, there's one above that. That says 12-man Superflex, start 9, PPR. Lamar, Stafford, McCarthy, Kyron, Bijan, Mason. Will you give me the whole team here? What's going on? Wright, Jamar, Devonta, T, Pearsall, Debo, Cup, Whittington, Jennings, Andrews, Kraft, Sanders. Inbox offer for Higgins for Penix. Also inbox offer Higgins, Devonta Smith, Kyron, Brees, Dell, 109, mid 26 second.
Jesus, someone need Jay Wayne to make me a graphic.
trying to trade Jefferson. Guy wants McCarthy in the deal. Other moves. This is.
That might be too much for a live show.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I'm gonna need a graphic. I need to break that out. Let's say also inbox for offer Higgins, Devonta Smith, Kyron, Brees Hall 1-9. For who?
Trying to trade for like is he saying Justin Jefferson is offer Higgins, Devonta Smith, Kyron, Brees, Dell 109 mid second. Trying to trade for Jefferson. The guy wants McCarthy in that deal. I don't know what that is, so we're gonna skip that one for now. Let's see here. So he has Justin Jefferson as a pull down here. Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Ricky Pearsall, and JJ McCarthy for Justin Jefferson.
Okay, hit me with those questions, with those options.
Justin Jefferson or Devonta Smith, Ricky Pearsall, JJ McCarthy.
Superflex, I assume.
Superflex, yeah. Start 9 PPR. 12 team. Probably taking Jefferson.
Yeah, I had to. Jay Wayne was. I could see he was about to get it up here. Not get it up like he's got him. Not like he's got him.
Hit us up.
Justin Jefferson.
Last time Big Co gave you a stock tip, you would have been crushing if you would have put.
Absolutely exploded in the Hims.
Pun intended.
Yeah. That down 25% in the last week though. I think the FDA and some other people, Big Pharma, got upset. They were crushing it, and they came in and slapped that hand. But I told you about Hims at 20. I reminded you about Hims at 30. I sent a picture in at 40.
We got out at 50.
Hims goes to 70. Big Co's looking at his E-Trade, smiling. It's back down to 50, but it'll be fine. But Big Pharma got upset because they're crushing it. So they got their hand slapped, which is, you can't go up 300% and then be upset when you lose 30% off of that. You'll be all right.
Yeah. How are we feeling about King Henry's dynasty value? Does he get re-signed with Baltimore? Does he have another incredible season? Every time I bet against this man, he stiffs arms my face like I'm Josh Norman.
Is he not re-signed with the Ravens right this second?
I think it was just a 1-year deal, potentially. I could Google that.
I'm pretty sure. I thought it was a 2 or 3 year deal.
I
think he's playing this year for the Ravens, and I don't think that's much of an argument.
2 year.
Yeah, I think he has a. Obviously in
2 year,
NFL,
$16 million.
2 year doesn't. Not that they can't let him go, but why would they? Right. He didn't do anything to let him down. That's for sure.
They could get out if they want.
They could always get out.
They could pay him $6 million.
Kirk Cousins just got $100 million guaranteed. He's about to get cut.
His cap hit for 2025 looks like 12.9.
Yeah, then the cap's about to crush, so it's go way up. He'll be fine. I think the Ravens don't have many problems, and running back isn't one of their problems. So I don't think that I'm sure they'll go and draft a guy because I think a lot of I think all 32 teams will draft a running back, right? So the Ravens are going to draft a guy. But I think the dynasty value it'd be hard to get as much as he's going to be help you this year.
Yeah, to me, if I'm trading for Henry, I'm doing it in season, and hopefully the guy who has him's team stinks.
I don't think he's talking about trading for him right this minute, but I get that's a good way to read the question. I'm not giving away really good value for Henry in February. Yes, that was my stance last year on older running backs, and there's no reason to change. Obviously, look
if it's Saquon Barkley, it's a different argument, right?
Didn't hit the home run, but when I said I'll trade for the running backs later, I pulled it off except for the Barkley part. I got Josh Jacobs late in the year to help me run for a title in the league. I traded for Derrick Henry late in the year in one league, and he helped me win the championship. Not championship week. I had other players that helped me get through the semifinal week. Derrick Henry didn't do much, but the next week he had 25. He was part of the process of winning. And I got him and Josh Jacobs in separate leagues for cheap enough, and it didn't work out for Barkley. Barkley exploded too much, and I couldn't pay for him. But I didn't. I missed out. I missed missing. I didn't buy an old running back in March and him come out and be slow, which a lot of that didn't really happen this year. All of the guys that were potentially getting quote-unquote older this year looked just fine all year and or better. Kamara looked fine. Mixon looked fine. Josh Jacobs looked fine in a much better situation. Barkley obviously put on one of the top 3 or 5 best rushing seasons that we've ever seen.
Sure.
And then Derrick Henry was fine. He had a rough first game when they were trying to figure out how to work with Lamar Jackson. Then he goes out and he leads the league in rushing yards until Saquon catches him at the end of the year, So it was a good year for older running backs. We heard that plenty But so, I think that Derrick Henry's going to be just fine, but I completely agree with Casey. I'm not trading for him right now.
Yeah, no, I like it. All right, let's finish up with. I got one more question here that I'm going to read. I got trade question. I'm in 12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium. Don't know how much a premium is. Dynasty league, and I own a terrible team. My only decent asset is the 101 Bowers, J.J. McCarthy, and Bryce Young. The rest is garbage. No one else has expressed any interest in trading up. Do I just select Genty if he is BPA or consensus number one? So basically, you got a bad team, you take Genty, or I'm assuming you're meaning trying to trade, figuring out how to trade out and getting as much as you can for the 101.
So you're saying if Genty's the guy that needs to take Genty is a terrible team and he's not going to do, you need to turn that into mini players.
Right. I just take Genty.
I can
do whatever I want later.
Yeah, I had this conversation at length with you 2 years ago for Bijan, right? And because I had a team that I was looking, I brought it to the Patreon members year after year. I kept reviewing my team every year. It was a terrible team, and I was trying to build it back up, and I had the 1-1, and I got Bijan. I don't hate trading back off of Genty if it gets you the haul that is necessary. But in that, you need to receive proven stud NFL players, not just a bunch of rookies that could be good, because there could be a lot of things that could negatively happen to Genty this year that won't hurt his dynasty value very much.
Yeah.
He could get hurt. It could be a terrible season. He could look bad at a running back. There could be, and people are going to make excuses for him and all the above. So I'm not just trading off of Genty to get pick 2, 6, and 10. Like, that ain't getting it done, right? I'll go from Genty to 2, 3, 4 and get a proven stud, right? And if Rashee Rice, if healthy, kind of guy. You want to give me 1, 3 and Rashee Rice and Ricky Pearsall, done.
Right.
All right. I got 2 starter. I got a stud receiver in Rashee Rice, a guy that I really like in Pearsall, and to pick 1, 3, so I can get Hampton or Caleb Johnson or whatever, or Judkins, or I can trade that back another pick and get some more. I can work my way backwards from there. But I'm not gonna just trade Genty for some draft picks and hope. I'm going to get a proven stud, and Rashee Rice was just on the mind because we talked about him recently. Sure. But somebody like that where it's a very high-end player with a safe floor and a high-end ceiling that we've already seen most of. We've already seen some ridiculousness,
Right. So what you want to I would just take Genty. Like you said, I think
Me
the value.
Too, I'm just saying.
I think the value stays good. I mean, listen, if you can pull off trades like that where you can get a stud player and still pick in the top 5, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
With that kind of a move, because eventually you do want to try to figure out how to get some more assets on the team, because you have to fill out a whole team. Until then, you're not going to be very good, even though you got some decent big-time players now. Like, you got your cornerstones in a couple spots, and maybe you want to do something different with McCarthy and Bryce. That might be something that I'm active in preseason, is just swapping those guys out, getting maybe some better proven assets and trying to gain a little extra with those guys. Bryce's stock's pointed up a little bit, and McCarthy's stock pointed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You could certainly hold McCarthy, and he might turn into something even better, and same with Bryce. But if I couldn't negotiate something with those guys, I might be in negotiations of trying to move those 2 guys one way or another, because really I don't care about my quarterback position right now. Like, if I got a shitty team, I'm trying to get the 101, and my cornerstones are now Bowers and Genty.
Yes.
And there's something weird about the psychology of once Genty gets on your team, and that draft pick comes off the board at 101, it's harder to get Genty from you than when the draft is going on. In my experience anyway.
100%.
It's always been, once that draft pick gets made, it's way harder to pull that guy off the team than when you trade for the actual pick. I don't know what that is. I don't know why it is. It just seems to be the psychology behind,
especially
with
a cult hero kind of guy like that. It's not the same for like 1-8 or 1-12 especially week 1 comes and those rookies aren't doing anything.
Right.
But if they come out and do something week 1, then the shit's taken off.
You could take Genty now or whenever your rookie draft is, and then he might not ever play it down for you because he's on your team, and now somebody's juiced up about him, and they're like, I gotta get Genty. I got this ridiculous team. I'm gonna trade you this player, and these 2 picks next year or whatever, and then maybe you do end up pulling the trigger. I'm not anxious to move Bowers or Genty in this situation. I'm going to try to figure out some other things and just acquire as much stuff as possible over the next year.
100%. there have been little frames in my mind where, like, if for that team I was talking about, like, I'm not sure, even as good as Bijan's been, I could get some of the deals that I was offered before he was on my team, just because it was Bijan.
Yeah.
And Genty's giving you that same kind of, oh my God, you know.
Yeah.
So you still, you'll be able to trade Genty for a super fun, ridiculously built out package at any time. And because I could trade Bijan right now for a built out package that would be great, but you might not, just like Casey said, like that, you might not be able to get as top dollar as letting somebody have that pick to draft him.
Right.
It's so the same kind of thing. Like once you get Genty, it's hard to give him away. The same guy trying to trade him for you once he puts that jersey, it's not a brand new car. Once you drove off, because it is the 1-1. It's not like, the 1-9 Brian Thomas Jr. last year, where after 10 games, he's all of a sudden went from 1-9 rookie pick to back into the first startup pick.
Right.
Genty's starting there.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, no, I like it. Anything on the YouTube side of things before we wrap this up, Jason?
If I could scroll back up here, there was a couple questions.
I mean, we don't need to. But if you got something on the way,
you literally just asked me.
Yeah, I know.
He meant super chat questions. We did have Gray Street, who's in the Patreon, put up a question while we were talking.
Yeah, hit me with it.
It said, 12-team Superflex, tight end premium, have no starting quarterbacks. Do you prefer the 1-1 or 1-3 and Bryce Young, or Drake May and 3-3? So basically, 1-1, go back to get 1-3 and Bryce Young, which I don't want to do that.
No thanks.
Drake May and 3-3. So Genty or Drake May?
Genty.
There you go.
Yo, I just scroll back up. I see Sean Boz was in the chat. Brock Bowers for 101 tight end premium.
What up, boss? Bowers.
Genty.
Bowers.
How much? 2-point premium? Bowers probably, but anything else I'm taking
1.5.
Genty.
I'm taking Bowers.
Fair enough. I'll take Ashton.
I'm taking Brock.
Genty or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Genty.
How many wide receivers I got to start?
Good question.
Doesn't say.
A nice bottle of Genty.
Genty.
Yeah.
The answer is probably St. Brown, but Genty's so much fun.
Again, live Dynasty trades and questions presented by Fast Draft. Fastest, easiest fantasy app on the planet. Use promo code FFD. Fast Draft will double your deposit up to $25 your promo code. They have the only rookie-only draft going on right now. They just added defense-only as well, so a lot of fun options there. But you can draft on the Origins. You can draft just rookie picks. Couldn't be simpler. You draft 6 running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Whole lot of fun. You can get quarterbacks in there too, but not a lot of options this year, and your rookies only. So it's only 60 players that you have to draft, but there's a lot of good value right now, pre-combine and pre-draft, with these combinations of rookies that you won't be able to put together later. So
True. You
don't have to go crazy with the teams that you're drafting, but you can grab a team, draft one while you're indisposed, and have a little bit of fun and get in on the rookie action a little early. And then if that's not your bag, baby, as Austin Powers would say, you can hop in some of the other more standard drafts like best ball, where you're only drafting wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. And again, 10 teams, 6 rounds, 60 players, and everybody can name those top guys, right? So everybody can kind of play in this. And then, like I said, if you want to play in the other side, they got defensive only as well. Haven't tried that one out yet, but I'm sure it's a whole lot of fun. So make sure you go check out Fast Draft. Download the app. Use promo code FFD. Tell them that we sent you to help your boys out.
And just so you know that you should listen to the very end, we got a reply. He said, I got Juwan Jennings off of waivers last year for like 20% of fab. So and I'm a competing team, so I figured I basically got him for 2. I got 2 seconds for free.
Nice.
in trading away. That was the McMillan Juwan Jennings trade. So he got Jennings for nothing. He says, just some fab money. Good for you. Look, good stuff, Lou Tang. Thanks for clearing up.
It's a Lou Tang. All right. Hit me with.
Big DC's growing his knowledge like he's on hymns. We're like the Dynasty hymns. Like, grow your.
I mean, come in for some Dynasty
knowledge.
advice. I'll help your net worth, bro. Crushing stock.
All right. Anything rapid fire on the way out? All right. Hey, be sure to keep it locked and loaded. If you're subbed on YouTube, you get this live right to your fingertips. Every Monday, we're going live. A lot of times it's mock draft, but one time a month, we're going to try to hit you with the live Dynasty trades. Go over and check the Discord out, $5 holler. We got roster reviews as well over there. A little more than $5, but go check that out. Got a free Discord for your pleasure. If you're listening on the pod, if you haven't given us a 5-star review, what are we doing right now? You can enter a contest in the description here and win a free tee. Why not? Why wouldn't you want a free tee? Five-star review could possibly net you a free FFD T-shirt. So that's at least a $30 value. So make sure you go check all that out. We got lots and lots of good stuff over there. We got mock drafts popping off. We got rankings, both rookie and dynasty. We got ADP for your pleasure. We're gonna have rookie ranks and all the stuff you need for your rookie drafts coming up, and more access to us and extra shows with the $5 holler. So make sure you check all that out. And again, Fast Draft FFD promo code gets you a little bit deposit match up to $25. So check that out. Until next time, peace.